Tevez all'interno dell'area, ma fuori tutti, Tevez, si apre la porta, Tevez, gol, da dietro, Pirlo dentro, gol.
All right, Juventini, welcome back to the All Juve Cast channel, where of course it's all Juve all the time. Good morning, Anthony, and good afternoon, Omer. I believe, it's somewhere around 4 p.m. I think over for Omer.
Almost 4 p.m.
There we go. And the usual suspects right out of the gate. Bob, good morning, my man. Good morning. It's another match day for Juventus. All right, we've got Genoa versus Juve today. We've got a ton of news and topics to discuss. Ciao, Alex. Always a pleasure seeing you in here, as well as everybody else. I know everybody's going to be getting in here very, very shortly. We are going to get some of the business out of the way right out of the gate, okay? So, everybody, reminder, like the video. Okay, let's get maximum likes on this bad boy. But more importantly, if you're new here, subscribe to the channel. Why the hell not? Okay, automatically enter yourself simply by subscribing to try and win this Vlahovic kit. All right. And last, certainly not least, show some love to stripedheartsapparel.com. You might notice this beast. Look at this crew neck. This thing is just class.
So I was telling Al before the show, that's the kind of shirt that you got to see somebody wear it, and that sweater is dynamite, buddy.
It's prime. So yeah, show some love. Hit stripedheartsapparel.com, grab one of these bad boys, or just check out any of the tees they have while they're on. They're changing designs all the time, and stuff's really only there for a limited time. So check them out. Now we've got more people jumping in here. Swing by, drop a like. Have a great show. Alex, wish you could stick around, but that's all good. Appreciate the like. Pure blood. He's going to have a lot of youth in today. Well, we'll talk about projected lineup and everything. Jeremiah, ciao. And Luca, where's the Zizou one? Don't worry, Luca. Hey,
calm down.
Take it easy.
Keep your pants on.
Take it easy. We know how much you love Zizou. It's coming. Relax.
It's weird how much he loves him.
So, John Stewart. Good morning, John. All right. Little different feeling heading into this one. Yeah, absolutely. Luis, ciao. Okay, news. There's a lot this week. Okay. We're going to kick it off. Mercado rumblings and stuff. Let's talk about some of the guys that are going to be difficult for Juventus to deal with, because everywhere you're seeing all these outgoings, okay? And it's like, well, let's take a step back and try to look at this rationally, logically. And I don't necessarily know it's going to be so much outgoing. There are some ones that are going to be very, very difficult for us to move, okay? We're going to kick it off with the main three. You've got Adrian Rabiot, you've got Moise Kean, and you've got Alex Sandro, okay? So Rabiot, difficult to move. It gets even more difficult after the summer because he'll be going into his final season. So trying to get anything after this summer is pretty much not going to happen. And I can't say Juve is going to be looking at a renewal for the guy next season. So honestly, that makes him, like, this summer, he's one of the guys you got to move. So I know there's been a lot of discussions lately about, Artur potentially being ahead of Rabiot in terms of moving on. But man, if you're looking at this scenario here, I really think like this is the summer Rabiot's got to move on. Otherwise, even though he came on a free, you're not going to get anything if he goes into next season playing for Juve. People just wait it out. You guys agree this summer we got to move him?
Well, you almost got to look at each player individually and what chess moves the management is making, throughout the summer. So I don't think it's a certainty that Rabiot's staying, Rabiot's going, or Sandro's staying or Sandro's going. I think they're waiting to see who they can get in, and then I think it's going to be a really active market at the end of the summer. For me, I don't see them selling Rabiot for the fact that that contract, it's the contract. It's that $7 million a year that really, but I really don't see him leaving because Allegri trusts him, right? He's always seems to be available, and that's hard to find. Now you can say what you want about the contract. I agree, it's high, but he's always available. So I really don't see them moving on from unless an offer like plus 20 million comes in for him, which could. But I for the Rabiot point, I see him staying on next year and then leaving for free because we got him for free.
And then, of course, there's been a lot of discussion about the type of midfielder we bring in. So if we bring in like a Milinkovic-Savic as player, he becomes even more so the one that needs to move on. Omer, what do you think about this? There's been a lot of discussions about Artur or Rabiot, which one needs to go first. But this scenario, does it kind of increase Rabiot being the one that needs to go ahead of Artur?
Rabiot is always the one who needs to go before Artur, in my opinion. But I agree with Ant. It's hard for me to see him moving. This summer as a whole will be more about departures than who you're bringing in, because there's a lot of players just to get rid of. And it will dictate our entire mercado, because if you can't move one or the other, then it affects heavily on your budget and on who you can bring in.
Yeah.
Eventually, you don't want someone who's making 7 million a season just sitting on the bench, not contributing anything. The management certainly doesn't. So we'll go down to it later. But I've talked with Lou a bit this morning about it. We'll talk about it later.
I think you gotta move Rabiot on. I think you gotta move.
You have to.
I appreciate his availability and everything like that. I think this is why I love the YouTube videos, the dailies. We got some great comments, and I can't remember who it was that put it in there, but this was absolutely hilarious. I laughed for a while. He says, Rabiot's got to be the most infuriating. And he just put $1 million body because he's always fit and everything. He goes, $1 million skills because he is, decent and whatnot. And then he says, but you put a 10-cent head on the player. And it's so true. It's so true. But is what it is. Let's get into Moise Kean. Moise Kean is a tough one. There is you've got to hope Juve can pull this thing out and get out of this second-year loan. Nobody knows 100%. It hasn't even been detailed what the actual stipulations are that make it an obligation to purchase. But that's a dangerous it's a dangerous scenario they're in, because based on production, based on everything, if we're going to go into another season and this is the best of what we're going to see out of him with Allegri and whatnot, that is a tough one. That's a tough one. I don't know if Juve is going to get out of there. Their only hope, that we were kind of sticking to is that PSG wanted him back to play for. Otherwise, Everton, I can't see Everton taking him back or wanting anything from this deal. So, yeah, Juve, this is going to be very, very interesting. But it's going to be also interesting to see, again, not knowing the stipulations, because if part of it is appearances or whatnot, and then Juve just says, okay, well, we need out, so they just don't play him or whatnot, you can't see the player wanting that. And he's probably going to potentially be looking for a way out. So there might be some scenario where they can kind of slide out of this, but Moise Kean, they got to get out of. If there's any way, shape, or form that they can get out of this.
Get out of the actual contract,
the second-year loan, and just wipe this thing out. They for me, if there's a way out or whatnot, they have to take it 100%.
What about you and the player, though? What about the player staying for whatever contract they can come to?
Right now, the money's pretty big on them. If it hits that option where they have to buy based on the criteria, that's just not if we're looking at Raspadori, who's apparently the guy that needs to come in, and it's around 30 mil. And I think Moise Kean's deal is actually a little more 32, 35, somewhere in there to purchase, plus the 2-year loans on top. That's too much.
I'd like to get Omer to start with this one, because I had my conversation with Raph on this in our private chat, but I'd like to get Omer to start on this one.
Yeah. Omer, your thoughts on Kean?
Kean is a funny one, because although he hasn't been that great this season, and even for Everton, there's some part of me that he's a homegrown player. That I still have a soft spot for him. We let him grow, and he still is just 21, 22. There's still an entire career ahead of him. Having said that, the price tag in this deal is way too high. If you can knock it down, I wouldn't axe him just yet. He certainly goes into the departure area of the near summer, of the near mercato, but I don't know. I don't feel as much as other people feel that he should leave immediately as in top of the list. I still have some credit for him and some hope, maybe not based on anything, that he can do better than he did this season.
Yeah. The thing with Moyes though is you don't want to axe him. I agree, like if you can get that price down, but the problem is that right now on this particular deal, it's at that inflated price, which we can all, I think, agree is too much based on the output we have. So the risk you run is if you try to see this guy can integrate himself, get himself better, and get himself firing next season. The problem is if he doesn't, and all of a sudden, none of us know the criteria that make it obligation. If you hit that obligation and boom, activate that 31, 32 million price tag, that's a problem. So it's like, you know what I mean? So that's a dangerous risk. Anth, what do you think? Do you take that risk? Do you, like if you had let's put it this way, let's change the question. If you had a way out of the second year loan, would you do it?
You can't look, I can't look at it that way. I got to look at it okay. Yes, I'd get out of it but in this current state, the problem is that you can't talk about Keane without talking about Morata, right? Because the Morata deal is going to be, they're going to try and get it for 15 million, which I think if you're going to make a deal, you offload Keane and you keep Morata at 15 million. Now, Raph and I had a great discussion, got maybe a little bit heated there, but the age factor, you can't ignore it. Being a 21-year-old, he still has so much of his career left, and I concede that point. If I have to choose between Morata at 35 million or Keane at 31, I'm taking Keane simply because homegrown and the age. Like you have to. Both deals are a problem. Well, Morata it's not even a deal, right? If we don't want to pay, you just let him go.
Yeah.
I think we need to keep one of the two. I think one of the two needs to stay. And if your push comes to shove, you can't pay 35 million for Morata at his age. You can't. Everyone knows me. I'm a big Morata slapper. I would love to keep him, but simply because the guy's 21. But I don't see them getting out of this deal, man. Since it's because the obligation is going to kick in for, I think it was 31 million. It's wild.
Yeah,
it's we did it to ourselves. We panicked when Ronaldo left. We're like, got to bring somebody in, and we backed ourselves into a corner. This is probably the last bad deal that Kidobini and Riva Ben are going to make. Hopefully,
man. For me, out of the two, like if you can knock the deal down, I'd still probably keep Morata around over Keane. If you can knock both deals down, I'd still pick Morata over Keane just based on output. And I don't know, Keane, I feel like he can be a very, very good player, but I feel it has to be in the system that suits him. And I think that's kind of,
and we haven't seen it
from what we've seen in him, especially last season and whatnot. And then this one with us, like if we're just not going to maximize, I don't see him being the guy worth the 30 million for Juventus. I don't see it. And I was rooting for the guy. Really, really was the whole time. I was happy we brought him back. I said, let's go. Let's get him going. But it just hasn't worked out. Alex Sandro remains that he may stick around. This one is extremely quick for me to answer. Bite the bullet. Just move on. Even if you have to buy out the damn 6.5 million, whatever it is, just end it. Okay, like get a youngster in. You've got De Sciglio who can play the left side as well. You've got Quadrado, Danilo, right? You have Luca Pellegrini. You're still looking at, even if Sandro remains, they were looking at a left back option. So I don't see the problem. Like, just, you know what? It's time to just cut the cord. I don't see him helping out in any way that would stop me from bringing in somebody else and just saying, you know what, I'm just going to pay this out if we can't make a move. Because even if you make a move, you're probably going to be paying partial salary out of that 6.5 million.
Mm-hmm.
That would be probably best case scenario. Best case scenario would be move him outright, not have to pay a cent. But if he just says, okay, yeah, I want to stay, you know what? Sorry, man. It's like, we're done. I'm done with it. Like, guys that are sticking around or we're keeping around just solely based on the fact that we have to pay them isn't right for the roster overall, in my personal opinion.
Mm-hmm.
But you guys, let's go. Sandro's the last one up on this tough moves, and then we go on to the next segment.
Who's starting here?
I'll just say that is the same as Rabiot. He makes a high salary and offers nothing where we need more, which is in attack. Defensively, he's fine. I don't have too many complaints towards him, except for that brain fart against Inter. But you can't judge a season just based on one mistake. It's Supercopa. Defensively, it's fine, but he sits on a 6. You can, but it's unfair. Okay,
agreed.
Other players cost us goals and matches. We don't condemn everyone, but it just needs to live. Like you said, just cut the cord. There's no need for it. He's sitting on a 6 million, I believe, maybe 6.5.
6.5.
Close to what Rabiot is making. So it's exactly the same case. He's not going to get any better than he is right now. So just sayonara. It was nice having you for 2 seasons. Bye.
And
yeah, I'll completely disagree with the entire chat and both of you. So, yeah, if you want to compete on, I agree with, offensively, he doesn't offer anything. I agree with that. But if you want to compete in 3 trophies, you need depth. Why not just keep him for one more season? I still think we have to go and get that left back option. But as a depth player, he's got one more year in his contract.
Your argument is the defensive side of the game, I still say he's awful in that front too, and getting roasted by players that Juve players shouldn't be. Like, Sandro's dusted for me, man. Even on the defensive side, if you want to say he's good as a defensive outlet, I don't see it.
Yes, but Danilo offers you exactly what Sandro offers you if you put him on the left defensively.
Yeah,
and that's the thing. You already have De Sciglio, who's good defensively, and Danilo, who's good defensively.
we just extended. Like, we're extending De Sciglio. So you got De Sciglio, you've got Danilo can cover there. You've got Luca Pellegrini. Like, I don't see and they still want to bring in a left fullback. I don't see the point, even if, like, in any way, shape, or form, of keeping this guy around, even if you had to pay the 6.5. I don't see it.
I'm not going to lose sleep if he stays and plays out his contract. That's all I'm saying. We still need that left back option. I agree, but I'm not going to, stand on my milk box and scream to the, imaginary people on the street corner that we need to get rid of Sandro. If he stays, he stays. If he goes, even better.
I want to add one more question to you and to the chat. Realistically, looking at our midfield departures and the players that we're linked with, if everything goes to plan and everyone is happy, then we're bringing in SMS. We're left with McKennie, Zakaria, and who else do we have?
Rovella.
I don't even remember. Rovella, Fagioli, Miretti, and I'm missing one more guy, Locatelli. 7 midfielders, possibly loaning one of them to another club or to Serie B. And Rabiot, Arthur, Ramsey are leaving. Is that what everyone wants? Is that satisfying for everyone?
Which Omer?
This
scenario.
plan. 3 players leaving, Ramsey, Arthur, Rabiot, 7 midfielders staying, possibly one of the youngsters loaned out. SMS is the only one we bring in. The rest are just either in the squad or coming back from loan.
SMS being basically the only midfielder we bring in.
Yeah, and you're left with Lucatelli, Zakaria, McKennie, Rovella, Fagioli, and possibly Miretti. Are
Oh,
you
well,
fine
wait a
with it?
second. All of a sudden, okay, we're going to get to the Fagioli talk. Honestly, if we pull SMS, I'd be pumped. I'd be pumped if we pulled SMS. I see Locatelli being able to play in either a two-man pivot or as Regista. I don't prefer him as Regista, but he can definitely play anywhere across the middle of the pitch. Between McKennie and Zakaria on another side of that midfield, I think that's a great midfield. I think that's a good midfield. If you had Locatelli, Zakaria, SMS, or even through McKennie in there for Zakaria, I think that's a solid midfield, in my personal opinion. And I'd be happy. If we just brought SMS in the midfield and we integrated, Rovella, Fagioli, whatnot, Moretti's going to go on loan. I'd be happy. I still think it's a little light. I still would like to see somebody else in there, but I'd be happy.
Even alone, like the U23 team could still go up to Serie B, then we don't need to loan. Miretti can stay in rotation with the U23 and the senior squad, which is also a possibility.
Yeah, I'd be happy with it. Ant, would you be happy with that scenario?
Obviously, that's a great scenario, but you have to add on to that. Are you happy with only bringing SMS in the midfield? I think that's a yes, because then you go after your left back and you need another winger. You still need a winger. Do we need two midfielders, or like I'm there's so much I think that we have to do, but I don't think it's as much as we think. I think one or two key players.
Did you
plus the players that we have will be fine.
Did Omer throw Artur in the mix as outgoing?
Yeah, Artur, Ramsey, and Rabiot are the ones to leave.
So Artur, I can't see him going. I can't see him going if SMS is the only one coming in, and that's kind of the whole scenario that's being projected out here. Is if SMS doesn't come and they go one route, which is getting another Regista, then Arthur's public enemy number one to move. If they bring in like a Jorginho or a De Jong or whatnot per se. But if SMS comes in my opinion, you have to keep Artur around as somebody to change up with Locatelli in a three-man mid. I would assume we're going to go a three-man mid if you bring Milinkovic-Savic in. Not a 4-2-3-1 or whatnot, even though I think that could work. But
that could work.
I think Artur would have to still stick around and be that change-up to Loca. Because McKennie's not going to do it. Zakaria is not going to do it. But you can make the argument for the young guys. But do you want, I don't know, it's a comfort level thing. I don't see Artur going if a Milinkovic-Savic type midfielder comes in. That's me personally. I think Ramsey's going to be a scenario where that could be another just see you later buyout type thing, but it's got to go away.
But that could be a problem.
The guy's name at this point anymore.
I think the issue is we have too many problems to get rid of that nobody else wants.
Yeah,
of course.
We have a lot of great ideas of bringing players in, but if you can't offload players, I don't know how easy it is to buy up players' contracts. Just look at Ramsey. We were talking about let's just buy him out. The guy just clung out like static cling. We couldn't get rid of the guy.
Yeah, but Ramsey is a bit different because of the injury issue, and he can stay fit for 1 week. Rabiot, on the other hand, would be a bit easier maybe to move because he's always fit and he has something to offer to teams. But it's tough. I said it earlier in our chat that this summer is going to be about departures more than purchases, and it will dictate how it all plays out. If we can't move either a Rabiot or Artur, then a top-tier midfielder might not even come.
Yeah, this is going to be a tough one. It's going to be a tough summer. Cherubini and Arrivabene have a lot to navigate. Obviously, some of the rumors coming in, young guys and integrating them. We hear discussions about Miretti and whatnot. He's slated to get another start today, as I would expect with, everything sealed up in terms of a Champions League position and whatnot. And this game ultimately not really mattering much for Juventus, but the next one's big, the Coppa Italia final versus the Snakes. Now, let's talk about the young guys, because Fagioli, it is said that he could potentially look at not renewing with Juventus if he's not integrated into the team next season. This next question is very, very easy. If it's the risk of losing Fagioli, which Juventus do not want to do apparently, and is why even months ago, I guess the rumors were kind of starting, and now it's kind of opened up that Fagioli wants to be integrated in that team, or he might look elsewhere. If that's the case, losing Fagioli or integrating him, what decision do you make? Let's start with Anthony on that one.
This is a bit of a watershed moment for this management because we have a lot of good young players, and I like seeing. Let me say this quite carefully. I think this is a good move by Fagioli to flex a little bit, to say, "Hey, you guys want me? I'm not going on loan anymore." I think it's good for players to do this, to put some pressure back on the club, to say, because all the fans want to see him play with the first team. I would like to see him because he had a great season in Serie B, and if it's him putting out the ultimatum, I would like to see Juventus keep him in the lineup on the first team, because all the good work that Chiellini's done with the youth squad, you'd hate to see it start to get, because like I said, if he does it, what's stopping De Winter from doing it however many years down the road, or Meretti or Sule, right? So I think he's the first one out of a line of youngsters that are now looking at the first team saying, you've been running with all these dinosaurs for a long time, for 3-4 seasons. It's our time now. You either keep me or I'm leaving. And the club, they're going to put the club in a tough spot, and good for him. I think Fagioli should stay.
There you go. Omer, your thoughts?
Yeah, I would loan out Miretti and bring Fagioli back. They're basically the same. They're the same player, only Fagioli is like 2-3 years in advance. He already had his loan, he had his time with the U23, and now it's his time to come back. Miretti is 18, 19 soon. He needs to go through that scenario maybe on himself, go out on loan, impress in Serie B, maybe Serie A, and then come back. I feel like Fagioli already had that. I don't think we can have both of them and give them adequate minutes and to maximize and make them develop even more. Fagioli went through the process. He impressed. He deserves to be back in the team. Miretti is impressive. We like him. We want him. And he needs to play regularly for a better side than the U23.
Yeah. I think, there's been a lot of shots lately. Miretti went up, but Miretti, for me, prime suspect to take on that Serie A loan. Find a spot for him in Serie A to go to next season. 6 months. Make it 6 months just in case, he does
January.
Give you some type of scenario where, hey, maybe the injury bug still hits us next season. Who knows? That you can do something with it, but make it a 6 month. Put him on loan. Fagioli, we all kind of said it this season, get him in Serie A for a loan. It was weird that he went to a Serie B side for the loan, but he's been doing fantastic with Cremonese. Mm-hmm. They might get promoted. Look, if it's a matter of losing him, factoring in everything we just said, and you might have to bite the bullet on some contracts, that also plays into, for me, if you're going to lose him, if you have a bunch of guys that you might potentially be paying out contracts, just buying them out, bring them in. Just bring Fagioli in, and you can save financially in doing so. So Rovella,
cheap. Yeah, he'd be damn cheap.
If we mix them in, there you go. And to be honest, it could be argued that Fagioli be the change up to Locatelli and whatnot, and I could see it. And you know what? If that in turn you have to move a guy like Artur to help financially and whatnot, I don't see a sale for Artur happening based on what he stands at club. But a swap deal could potentially happen. But for me, Fagioli's shown enough even at Serie B that you can't lose him outright. Like, you can't lose him completely. So if he's pushing, the team and saying, hey, I want to be here, or I might not renew, good on him, number one, for doing that and making that push. He's been one of the players that have actively spoken out about what it's like in Italy for the young players. Mm-hmm. And, there's many now following suit. It's something that we've all noticed and we've all spoke about. I kind of respect the kid for making that stand and whatnot, and he probably has to for his career and whatnot. And I like it. And personally, if it came down to losing him, I wouldn't lose Fagioli. So pull the trigger, and if he's got to be integrated into the team next season, you do it because you don't want to lose him. Raspadori, and Di Maria. We talked about the potentials of all these guys going. You might lose Keane, Morata, Dybala, Bernardeschi, all in one foul swoop. Di Maria, €7 million salary, but free, right, in terms of the transfer fee. Starting to look better when you start looking at the possibilities of all these guys going out. And if it helps because there's no transfer fee to boost the midfield, I think we all kind of accept it and take it regardless of if we might not be too keen on Di Maria, but some are really high on Di Maria, saying bring him in at all costs. Raspadori, apparently after the Coppa Italia final, discussions will pick up and intensify. Juve doesn't want to spend nearly as much time as Locatelli. Thank God that deal was ridiculous. They want to get this thing apparently wrapped up quickly. 30 million is a price tag. Guys, if Raspadori and Di Maria come in, big success and big boost to the attack, or status quo? How do you guys feel if those are the two incoming?
Omer?
Raspadori, I'm fine with. It's okay. I don't like the Di Maria one, to be honest. I may be a minority here, but I don't like the Di Maria transfer option. He's 34. He thrives in attacking football more than defensive football. I don't see him making sprints forward the way Max plays, at least this season. Maybe it's going to change. But he hasn't done well with Manchester United or the Argentina national team, who play a bit differently. I know he did fine in the last Copa America, but before that, he had a great time at Real Madrid, an attacking team, and in Paris Saint-Germain, again, an attacking team that dominates the league. I don't like it. I don't think we need another winger who is 34. This is not a proper age for wingers. They usually dial down earlier, around 30 or something. I don't know. I don't like him. I don't think he's the solution, and a lot might disagree, and I might be wrong, and he does come and changes everything, but it's not the same like signing a defender at age 34. Just not it. And he's not a Ronaldo that you can be certain you get the top quality of the game at that age. So that's a no for me. I would look for another profile.
And that's Di Maria.
Yeah, he's making. Omar makes great points. I think Raspadori, I think you need something coming in at that position, considering all the players you have going out. Like you can't forget about that. You can't overlook that position with the moves that are being made outgoing. Even if Bernardeschi stays, right, I think you still need, which he might. I think that ship might be turning back. Di Maria, I'm indifferent. I think not at $7 million a year or whatever it was, $6 million a year his contract. At that tag, someone who's coming off the bench to essentially just relieve Chiesa of his duties or be a backup to Chiesa or Cuadrado, then for a free loan for a couple $1 million a year, I would do it. Why not? Just to have 2 years max, 1 to 2 years max. But I would do it. Why not?
Yeah. So for me, I mean, I was never big on the Di Maria thing. And the reason is I see it like this Club Med signing type thing. Like I'm always worried about these guys at that age, the signing, that money, that it's going to be their kind of last push for a good pay before they kind of take that next step closer to retirement, whether they go to a
MLS
lesser league or just see you later completely. So I'm always nervous about those types of signings. And yeah, I've got PTSD from some of the last extensions we did. I think that's normal. So it's not my biggest thing. But if it means freeing the funds up like elsewhere, like in the midfield, and helping make that splash, that's a sacrifice I'm willing to take, is Di Maria. If you bring me SMS and the trade-off is you have to take Di Maria, then I do it in a heartbeat. But if we don't make a splash in that midfield and we're bringing in Di Maria, then you're going to hear from me. I won't be so happy about that one. Raspadori. Sorry?
Let's not forget that they said that Sule is probably going to be a part of the main roster next year, which is another winger.
Yeah.
It's another one. If you sign Di Maria for 1 or 2 years, Sule is not going to see minutes. Sorry, it would be between Cuadrado and Di Maria. They're planning
this is another one of my problems, though.
What about this guy?
Why on earth can it not be a competition at positions? Like, even though it's Di Maria, even though he's 34, even though he's got the history and all this, Sule should be based on what they're giving you and whatnot. It shouldn't just like, I hate this guarantee that he's just gonna play, and I got like, we gotta wipe that out of our mindsets and whatnot. But you're right. I mean, naturally, if he came in, you could see Max going to the experience because that's what he does. But
that's the thing. You're 100% right.
Also haven't seen nearly enough of Sule to say confidently he needs to be one of the main wingers next year. He would have to be a rotational winger regardless.
I didn't say main wingers, but they did say he's going to be part of the roster. If he's part of the roster, he'll have to play, or we lose him. He won't stay, I believe, another season if he doesn't play. Now, considering Chiesa is coming back
with Sule,
look, you're 100% right. There's nothing wrong about what you said. The only factor is Allegri. We know Allegri. If it was another coach, I'd say, yeah, Di Maria and Sule, no problem. With Cuadrado, with everyone there. Because it's Max and he prefers the elderly players, let's call him that, then I don't see Sule getting minutes.
Okay, easy with the elderly, with the E word. All right.
Well, you should be at the retirement home.
It's true.
Compared to these guys.
Here's my thing. I'm concerned with his minutes, even if Di Maria doesn't come in. Like, it's just this is a natural concern there, right?
So if he's coming, then why bring Di Maria, or why promote him to the senior squad? One or the other.
I didn't know Sule.
They've got some. They got some decisions to make. Raspadori, for me, like I've been saying, I think there's a bit of a gamble there, as good a player as he is in terms of how he fits and whatnot. But hopefully, if this is the guy that they've made a decision on and they want to go all in on, hopefully, he gets it done and takes off for us. There was a comment in here, and I'm not going to get into the whole Paulo Dybala thing, but I'm just going to touch on this in a different aspect, because CJ Yardo says, still don't understand why they can't match or beat Inter's supposed offer for Dybala and possibly mend the fences. We'll spend equal or more money on a lesser player. I just want to kind of, state this and whatnot. I think it literally comes down to the fact they lost faith in him in terms of his fitness. I really, truly do, because I think the full intention at the start of the year was to extend this contract. Obviously, we know how it all unfolded. We're not going to dive into this whole thing. We're not going to dive into the potential of him joining Inter. That'll be later if it happens. But I honestly think there's no chance. Of course, they could match that offer, the offer that they seen there, but the relationship became broken. But not only that, I think they truly have just lost faith in Paulo's fitness and staying fit and want to go a different route. I don't think there's any possibility of mending fences. This has been something that's talked about a couple weeks back too, but do you guys see any possibility? Would it make sense to you? Would you, and I'll ask this question to you guys. If the potential was there to mend the fences and match that offer and he would accept, would you do it?
I don't think it's coming from the club. I think it's just Paulo at this moment, after he probably got insulted or something, and he just decided to move on. And if Juve does offer him, like, what, here's 9 million, top earner, you're the captain, and we want you to stay, and he agrees, then he's a money merchant. And I don't want him at the club if that's the case. If, like I said it before, if this whole thing was a smokescreen to just, keep quiet, let the season run itself, and then discuss it, then fine. But it looks like Paulo sort of got offended by what Juve proposed or didn't propose after postponing it for months. Then I think he's out the door.
Okay, so the question
matter
again,
what.
if you could mend the fences
No.
and make that deal, you wouldn't do it.
I don't know if I wouldn't do it. It just there are some other aspects to it. I don't know if Dybala wants to stay and he wants to sign, then he'll sign for 6 million, 7 million, which I think is fine. Would I do it? I don't know. Will we see a different Dybala? Then
if you could match that, offer and he would accept it, yes or no, would you make that deal?
I'm not going to give you an answer. Second Amendment.
Yeah.
Second.
What was the deal?
Anthony.
Like 4.5. What was the deal you said? Doesn't matter. Don't even say it. Yes, you match it. You sign. He's our best player. He's our best player. You bring it back. Now, the whole thing with Dybala is everyone can speculate as to what's going on. No one knows what's going on. We have some news here and there. Everyone's acting like we know what Dybala. No one knows what Dybala's thinking or what he said because he hasn't said anything. I hope down the road that we find out everything that's gone on. And I'm not saying what's gone on and what people are speculating is not true, but we don't know what's true. We don't know the exact offers. We don't know what the stipulations were in the contract. We don't know we don't know shit about what happened with Dybala. So if he leaves, he goes to Inter, hey, have fun. Don't let the door hit in the ass on the way out. I don't really care. I support the club and the players that are here. But if you have the chance to re-sign the kid, he's our best player. You re-sign him.
He's our best player when he wants to be our best player. And the problem is, more often than not, he is not actually, in fact, our best player. He's our best J Medical player is lately what he's been. And that's the truth. That's the truth.
Right.
He played a dangerous game. He gambled and he lost because of his own fitness and conditioning. That's basically all that happened. He played a dangerous game. He took the advice of a monkey that has no other players, no high profile players. You're telling me other people are trying to tell me he didn't have the papers. It's not on Dybala. His agent would have signed and then Juve retracted the offer. That's nonsense because you're trying to tell me this guy didn't have paperwork, even though he represented this guy for 2.5 years and only plays in Italy. Give me an absolute break. Number one, amateur hour at its finest, if that's even in fact true, which I do not agree whatsoever. Look, something changed along the way. The relationship is broken. I can't help to think back to Sarri's term when he started talking about our players. We hated what Sarri did, but he shed some interesting light, and I can't help but feel that when he specifically spoke about a persona that is completely different than the perception that's held outside of the club, I can't help but feel it's Dybala. Regardless of that, I agree with you in terms of financially. It would be hard to say no to just take that offer and match it if he was going to stay. Mm-hmm. Looking at this Mercado, I can't see us bringing in somebody that would be at that level or whatnot. Like, we're gambling on Raspadori at 30 million. We can all kind of feel that's a gamble and whatnot. But it's hard right now to separate your mind from kind of what's happened and everything. And it has, to some degree, kind of changed how you feel about Paulo and whatnot. But fair enough. Now, is that money worth it? And I agree, like, in terms of the actual cost is fairly low now. And we were ready to give him a little bit more if he hit the bonuses and whatnot. But I'm telling you, like, you start to wonder, is a body worth more than those money? Like, is a body, just having a body that's there, that's consistently showing up and whatnot. And that's kind of the issue we run into. Good point. But that's a tough one. It's a tough one.
Being available is important.
Medical shakeup at the end of the season. Thank God. Get a new medical team in here. Okay. Physiotherapist, everything. Change it.
The best news, if we get that done, Summer Mercado's done for me. If we change the whole medical staff, physiotherapists, SMS would be a cherry on top. Get rid of everybody in there because there's something going on. That J Medical, whatever they're doing is horrendous. There is zero excuse to have this many injuries in practice.
Yeah.
What are we doing over there?
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody, reminder, like the video. Okay, subscribe to the channel if you're new here. One-stop shop for everything Juventus. Chiellini, farewell. We are getting ready to say farewell to Giorgione. Obviously, the last official goodbye will be against the Lazio there for Juventus there as home game and whatnot. That's going to be a tough one. You know, everybody's talking Paulo Dybala and whatnot. In terms of impact, will Chiellini's farewell be bigger impact than Dybala's farewell, in your personal opinions?
No, I don't think so. Not the same way, because Chiellini did have in the past 4 or 5 years tons of injuries, and we kind of learned that we have to deal without him for long periods. So the club is sort of ready. We as fans in our heads, we're sort of ready to not see Chiellini on the pitch, even when he's available. Having said that, he's one of my favorite players ever, someone I was high on since the moment he signed, and he never disappointed throughout this, 16 years now with Juve. Has never disappointed me, always played up to the standard that we, the fans, expect from our players, our symbols, our captains. And if you want to bring in the legend icon debate, that is a legend that we'll remember forever. And it pains me that he leaves, but that's life, that's football, and we got to move on.
Yeah. And
it's what happens to us old guys, man. We get put out to pasture. Sometimes we get taken back behind the garden shed, But it's what happens. Omer said it perfectly. We saw this one coming for a while now, and he deserves all the praise and gratitude from the fans that he can get. But it's time to move on. I've seen enough players do this, and I think for me, Buffon was bigger, his thing, and Del Piero. But Chiellini's been with us a long time, and some people argue top 5 Italian defender ever, maybe top 10. I don't know if I'd put him quite that high, but it's an important player. The main thing is he never once disrespected the club and always played his heart out. I think one of those warriors that the fans always loved, and hopefully he can come back in some capacity in management and in the future for sure.
Yeah, I think he'll come back and definitely be a part of Juventus in some way, shape, or form. With it, I mean, we were all anticipating we all discussed and said, it is time. But in terms of impact on the team, and in comparison to some of the other guys, I think actually I would say his is probably going to be the biggest impact. I have to say, because every time he's out there, even if we know what it's been like with him, unfortunately, over the past couple of seasons, he plays a game here, 2 games here, and then gets hurt for a bit, is what it is. But every time he's actually in there, it's just different. It's a different feel, especially at the back. This is no discredit or disrespect to, De Ligt, Bonucci, any of the other guys at the back. We know in that Sarri season, Bonucci was massive. He was massive, almost played the entire season. Okay. And no discredit to those guys, but it's different when Chiellini's out there. He's always had that presence. It's always felt, even if he has a rough game, like he makes an impact somewhere, or even just by driving other players forward, whatnot. Like he's got an impact. He's got an impact that's always there and evident. And I don't think out of any of the other outgoings or potential outgoings and whatnot, anybody's had that impact on the overall team. Chiellini is absolutely massive. And I think always overlooked in terms of like globally and the world as far as defenders go. Unfortunately, I don't think given as much credit as he really should be. One of the absolute best. And it's going to be tough. That's going to be a tough goodbye.
Have you ever seen someone, that his personality on and off the field is so like in contrast? Because he's the nicest guy when you see him off the field with everyone, but the minute he steps on and starts playing, you see a whole different type of player. And I don't think I can compare anyone with that type of mentality and play. And like you said, yeah, the minute he steps onto the field, something is different with the team.
Yeah.
Always has been, and he went through the gears, through Serie B, through the tough times, and he was always there, the lone performer when the whole team was bad. So it's going to be tough to lose him. But the difference between him as a person and him as a player is something that's very hard to find, and that's what makes him special. Even in the documentary, you see whenever a new player signs, he's the first one to greet him, to sit and have lunch with him and talk, just introduce him to the team. So
and that's it, is all the extras that aren't really quantified on the pitch and whatnot that you get out of him, and that ambassador and helping with identity. And there's a great question already for Storm the Barn from Luca we will get to in terms of identity and involving Chiellini and some other players. Get your Storm the Barn questions in here. We're going to try and tackle some of them after. We're going to get into the trivia real quick before some of the breakdown heading into this Genoa match. And then, of course, prediction challenge. Now, trivia. Let's get into it right out of the gate. Who's the last player Juve purchased from Genoa?
Mattia Perin.
Who?
Mattia Perin. I don't know if purchased because he came back from a loan.
Yeah, that was a loan, wasn't it?
But I think it's still him. Before that, who do we have?
Didn't we sell them Sturaro?
We sold Sturaro to them. It didn't come
them,
from
yeah.
Genoa to us. Yeah. I think it's Perin. I'm going with Perin. No?
No idea.
No. Rovella might be.
No.
Rovella. Yes, so it's Rovella.
Jeremy slid in there. Just said with Rovella. Let's give a live chat one here. Who's the last player Genoa purchased from Juventus?
Oh, that has to be Portanova.
Nice pull, Omer. Nice pull.
Has to be.
How do you know that?
Nice pull.
Come on, he had this whole story. He was in jail or something.
New door?
Yeah, Genoa got the new door there. Max Allegri has faced Genoa 23 times. How many victories?
20.
Oh.
Shout out to the chat that was also nailing Portanova there. Well done, well done.
Ryan gets -1 for comparing Dybala to Baggio, so he's already -4.
Listen, 23 games Max Allegri has faced Genoa in his career. How many wins?
I'll go with 17.
I was gonna say 15.
Ooh, so we got 18, 19, 16, 19, 18. Based
16.
on
I'm with Luca.
closest to actual victories, Ant would take the point. It's 14. 14 wins out of 23 matches. In the past 10 matches between the two clubs, all competitions, what is Juve's record in those last 10?
I remember one loss.
Wins, draws, and losses. Total record for Juventus against Genoa, all competitions, last 10 outings.
Yeah, Omer, I don't remember any losses.
No, there was one where Sturaro and Pandev scored. We lost 2-0. It was back in Allegri last season.
Yes.
Yeah. We did drew them and went to extra time in the Coppa Italia. I think it was the Sarri season with Raffia scoring last season with Pirlo.
Read your history.
So I don't know if it counts as a win.
Read your history, then come back.
I'll say 7.
6. 6 wins.
6, then I'll go with
wins.
8.
We got 6 wins, 2 draws, 2 losses. 7 wins, 2 draws, 1 loss. 8 wins, 1 draw, 1 loss.
We're giving home
7, 1
wins.
and 2. What is your final answer, Omar and Anth?
I'll go with 8.
I'm going with 6 wins.
8 and what? We need total. We need the record. What are you going? 8 and what?
I'll go 6-3-1. 6-3-1.
8.
1 loss.
8-1-1.
It's 8-1-1. Okay, Swarit getting it for the live. You guys getting it done. Final question. I think there's a final question. Yeah, last match was 2-0 victory for Juventus. Who scored for Juve in that 2-0 victory?
Man, I repressed this season so much. Shoved it down. Genoa. It was a home game. It was before Dusan. Genoa. Fuck me, I can't remember the game.
Delict.
I'll tell you no on that one. And I'm going to take this second to remind everybody, like the video, okay? Like the video, everybody. Let's get maximum likes on this bad boy.
Genoa. Okay, I'll say...
no idea.
We got some guesses coming in here. Luca's throwing Paolo and Chiesa out there. Keane and Bernardeschi.
I'll go Quadrado and Morata. I don't remember.
I'll go Morata and McKennie.
Morata and McKennie for their and throwing Quadrado out there. Quadrado's one of them. And Suarez.
The greatest.
So Richard got Quadrado correct. Suarez coming in here with Quadrado and Dybala. That is it. Dybala and Quadrado. Quadrado and Dybala.
I got 50%. That's a pass, kids. 50% is a pass.
Live just edged it. All right.
I don't remember
Okay.
any part of this game.
Great stuff, guys. Great stuff. Now, without further ado, Genoa, Juventus. 4-3-3 projected lineup. Szczesny, Quadrado, Bonucci, Rugani, De Sciglio, Arthur, Miretti, Rabiot, Dybala, Vlahovic, Keane. Projected lineup. There's also been another variation of the projection, slightly different, but that's pretty much it. Juventus, we know where we're at. We've sealed up one of the top 4 positions. That's all we need. And now Coppa Italia, the next one, we got to get that trophy. That's the big one. We got some question marks in terms of some of these guys starting that I want to ask you guys in terms of that lineup, how you feel about it. In terms of Genoa, they have 1 win in their last 5. They need some points desperately to try and stay alive in Serie A. They are facing relegation. Do you play them how you would Inter and not so much how you would typically play Genoa in order of getting ready for that final in terms of some of these players on the projected? What are your guys' thoughts? How do you feel about it? Because we obviously know you could say whatever you want, but this game ultimately means nothing to Juventus in the grand scheme of things. That Inter match is the big one, and we have yet to beat a team ahead of us. And we want to take a trophy home this year and definitely not let those guys win that one. Let's get your thoughts on the lineup, thoughts on this game, what you're looking out of it, and what you see happening.
Omer?
Yeah, the lineup is fine. What we expected, I would have rested Rabiot since he probably will start against Inter too. There's no denying that. The rest are fine. Vlahovic, Keane, I assume we'll see some rotation. I will throw out some stats on Genoa. They are the worst attacking team in the league. They have 25 goals total. 15 of them were from open play, 4 from set pieces, 5 from penalties, and 1 own goal. Defensive-wise, they're not the worst, but they're like in the top 5 somewhere. They're fighting for relegation. They're 4 points off Salernitana, who just jumped them yesterday after the win and got out of the red zone. So they have a ton to fight for. Genoa, to anyone who doesn't know, is the oldest team in Serie A. Their legacy is longer than Juve even. So they don't want to go to Serie B. They will fight, but they are very bad in the attacking sense.
They stink.
So they stink. They're a very bad team this season, and they probably will get relegated. I just don't want to see any injuries or anything before Inter. Let's get this match 1-0, 2-0. I don't care. Just win it. Maybe we can jump above Napoli. Maybe not. Doesn't really matter anymore. So the lineup is fine. I hope to see some more youngsters from the guys that were called. And that's it. Nothing too much to put into it.
Yeah. I'd agree with that. This is essentially the lineup pretty close to what we're going to see against Inter. So I think it's more of a trial run. I would like to see it more as a trial run, like I was saying, for the Inter match on Wednesday. And of course, Dybala is going to start that because he's our best player. Al disagrees based on his recent form. If you want to see that conversation, tune into the last show. We got into that one pretty heavily. But
I thought I was going to be in the minority, and it turns out when you posted that vid on the main, I think it was 50-50. It seemed a decent split.
Yeah. So, but in terms of this game, it's definitely a springboard into the Inter match, and it looks like that's the way he's lining up. Miretti, does he play against? I think that's the only real question mark. Let's see how he does today to see if he earns a spot for.
And we got a question coming in here from viewer. Do you guys believe if Miretti drops another A-tier match, he starts Wednesday? We talked about this before on that last same episode, saying, if he does get another start, which now we've sealed top 4, he gets this start. If he does it, you could potentially go into that without any type of fear. So it's an interesting one. I think if he has another one today, I think it becomes a pretty serious discussion. I think it becomes a pretty serious discussion about playing him, to be honest.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not, really.
Oh, but absolutely. Omer, please elaborate.
Because so we'll have 2 great performances, which is fine, and he deserved to start today based on the Venezia match. But it was Venezia, and it will be Genoa, teams that are in the bottom of the table and close to relegation. Throwing him in a cup final against our worst rival, where there's nothing left to play for but this in the season, is a huge bet. A bet that might, turn some heads, because maybe it's too much pressure for an 18-year-old kid to start this type of match after playing 2 matches this season.
Are we talking about, did Juve all of a sudden just get all their players back? What are we talking about here? The balance in that midfield with Rabiot, Zakaria, and Miretti actually looked okay. And Miretti
against Venezia,
I think, but this is why we're looking at another match too. Miretti's going to be in here now with Artur potentially next to him and whatnot in a Mezzala role, which actually could open you up to play him in a 4-2-3-1 where we've seen Rabiot and Zakaria play a 2-man pivot before. It gives you options and flexibility against Inter. Artur has just come back. Artur has just come back too.
All of this is great on paper. I agree. Knowing Max and how this season went, and considering this is the last trophy, I don't see any way he starts, even if he scored 4 goals.
But we're having a discussion though. So what Max does is of no concern to me. We're actually talking about what you would do, what we would do, and everything. And does it become a discussion? It is a discussion. If he puts back-to-back good performances, look, you can look at this the other way too, Omer. You think there's a risk because it's Inter, our biggest rival, all this. Well, there's also a risk in going in a guy Artur that's just come back. If this kid is hot, if he puts together another good performance, how is he not in the discussion? I don't care about what Max thinks and what he says. I say it's a discussion. I think it's a discussion, and he should be in the mix. And if not, what are we ultimately doing? We're just telling players, okay, it's cool. You can go out there, put 3 great sessions in there, but ultimately, I'm just always going to go to this next guy.
No, that's not what I said. I said that I don't see him starting this time. I wouldn't start him. I actually would go with what worked against Inter last time, although we lost because of a weird penalty. We did dominate the game with Zakaria and Rabiot, Dybala above them with either Bernardeschi, Cuadrado, Morata, Vlahovic. I wouldn't try something we haven't tried enough in a game that we have to finish this season with a trophy. If we win without him, then that makes me right, and if we win with him, does that make me wrong? Or
here's the other thing to combat exactly what you're saying. You even agreed with me. It's questionable even having faith in Dybala based on his run of games.
I agree.
So now all of a sudden you're like, well, let's go back to what we did last time against Inter, but it's a little different now because Dybala's been in poor run of form.
Okay. So what?
I don't even remember how we lined up Does anybody know how we lined up last time against Inter? I'd have to look that up.
4-2-3-1.
4-2-3-1.
We were the better side.
It was the
in
Zakaria
that
and
match.
Rabi pivot. We were
Yeah.
a better side. And if in this particular game, if Moretti can show a little bit of pizzazz in a Mezzala role, more attacking and whatnot, I think it's interesting. I think it gives Max a little bit. I think it gives him another ace up his sleeve in that matchup. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. But
The one thing I'll say about that Inter game, though, was Inter was in a terrible run of form going into that game. They're a different team since then. I don't think they've lost a game or even drew a game since then.
well, they're still battling it out. They're still battling it out for the Scudetto too, right?
But they're a different team. Like they've been.
It's
they've been
interesting.
playing a lot different.
I don't like this automatic, just kind of reluctance and almost like I've always said, if you guys are hot, play the guys that are hot at the time you need them the most, right? But I understand people not wanting to start Moretti in the final, and I'm fine with it. I don't care either way. If he starts, great. I hope he does well. If he doesn't, it is what it is. Ultimately, I think Max has a couple decisions to make, interesting ones, especially in regards to the midfield, with a couple guys that have really just come back. I don't know if I have enough faith in guys that just come back and then one of their main matches is the Coppa Italia final. That's just, and I've always kind of leaned that way, and that's the only reason I say a bit of a discussion. But one way or another, we kind of like today. Let's see what the guys do. The main thing, Vlahovic needs to bag a goal here today.
Needs it.
Yeah. So I kind of like this mix in the lineup because you got a mix of what you're going to see probably on Wednesday and a mix of guys you're not going to see. But Vlahovic being in there, hopefully he comes out with a bang. Hopefully he gets some goals. And then, of course, take him out. Avoid any kind of risk, injuries, anything like that. Let's get going with that. But hopefully he can get firing and go into that Coppa Italia red hot. Everybody, if you want to take part in the prediction challenge, we're right about to hit it right now. Make some comments in here. We're going to pick one of you to join us for the prediction challenge. We are going to kick it off through the cast, and then I'll pick somebody as I see you guys post that you want to enter. So if you want to enter right now, guys, offsides total for Juventus.
3.
3 for Omer.
I'll take 2.
2 for Anthony. I'm going to go with 2 as well. And let's pick, you know what? Ant's been going at Ryan pretty good for that Baggio comment. Ryan, if you want to get in there, let's get in there. And look, we've got Anish in there. Anish, you've got stickers already coming, man. The
lineup forms to the left. Whoever wants to finish second to me. Lineup starts over here. You just make your way down.
Sal, you know what? We tried to get Sal on the last one, and he didn't make it. Now it looks like he's in it. Sal, get in here. You're in here. So Sal's got 4 offsides. First card, what minute, what team?
Omer.
Genoa. I'm even calling Genoa getting a red card.
Ooh.
Maybe not a straight red, not as the first card, but they will get one, I believe. 30th minute, Genoa.
30th minute?
Yeah.
Okay. Very, very. That's a lot of detail on that one. Anthony,
you know me.
Boxer right in. I'm going to go Juve in the 56th.
I'm going to go.
Yeah, Juve in the 56th.
I'm going to say Genoa in the 38th. And Sal has. We're waiting, Sal, for the first card and what team, what minute. Possession split, fellas, while we wait for Sal there.
Possession
50-50.
split.
50-50.
No, I think Genoa are going to lead. And let's go with 52-48. I tell you why, because I think they have a tons to fight for. They're going to come out super aggressive, super attacking. They need goals, and we are going to score one of a counter, and this will be our
They are
game
gonna
plan,
score
just
today.
staying back.
Okay, I'm gonna go with 53% Juve. Sal, we're waiting for
Sal, let's
come on,
go.
Sal.
Let's go.
We need your first card in minute and possession. Come on.
Oh,
Shots,
looks
total
like Ryan
attempts,
left.
how many on target? So Sal's got Genoa 42nd minute. Sal, we need your possession split.
Yeah.
And let's go
Make
total
behind.
attempts, how many on target? I'm going to say Juve gets like 14 attempts with 5 on target today.
I'm going with 12 and 7.
12-7.
I was going 12 and 6.
12 and 6. Halftime scores. Salman, come on, you're falling behind. Let's go. 59% Juve. He's got
late.
possession. Let's get your total attempts. How many on target?
From Sal.
And now, guys, halftime scores.
I think, yeah, me too. I think 1-0.
1-0 Juve.
Some money on that.
Ant, you're going 1-0 Juve.
Yes, sir.
I am going. 1-0 around. 1-0 around. Full-time scores. Full-time scores.
I think Genoa's going to bag one. Genoa's only +3. Juve are. No, this isn't. Juve. Oh, Juve are the away team. They're +100.
Omar, you think 2-0 final?
Yeah.
Omar's going 2-0. Ant?
I'm going 3-1. There's no way we keep a clean sheet. There's no way.
I want to go with Jeremiah here, the 5-1, but I've said it so many times this season, it never happened. So
We've
hope you're right,
we've done that a
Jeremiah.
bunch. We're like, man, we're feeling the goals today. Feel it's like just a grease.
It's never happened.
I'm
Juve,
gonna say a 2. I'm gonna say a 2-1. 2-1.
2-1 is
finish.
+800 right
Maybe
now.
3-1. I kind of like the 3-1 scoreline.
3-1 right now, buddy, is +1800. Slam some Chicote on that bet, which I already did.
Yeah, 3-1's a
2-1,
good one. Sal's got 1-0 at halftime. We've all got 1-0 across the board. I got 2-1 final. I like the 3-1 scoreline.
I'm gonna put a little bit of money on 2-1.
So change mine. 2-0. 2-0 at halftime.
I'm gonna put a little bit of money.
Omar's going 2-0 at halftime, and what full time?
2-0 remains.
Okay. I'm gonna stick with the 2-1. 2-1. Tight one. Guys, goal scores.
Are you with me? Dusan bags 1.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Rugani.
Who?
You know him, the tall thin guy we have. The one who gives bottles of water to everyone. You know him. What's his name? Daniele?
Yeah.
Rugani.
Vlahovic and Rugani goal. Wow. Okay, Ant.
I'm gonna go with Deuce getting 2, and then Dybala with 1. Juventus 5-0 is +11,000. That's not a bad bet.
Jeremiah is on fire. Vlahovic hat-trick, Zakaria, and Miretti.
Vlahovic.
3-1.
Brace.
2-1.
Take it into the final. Let's go. All right. Sal, I'm going to let you get your goal scorers in here real quick, everybody. We ran out of time for some Storm the Barn, unfortunately. There was a good one that will probably just finish. I did promise Luca, even though he's a bit of a clown, but we'll get his on here. Luca, all love, relax, don't flip out because I called you a little clown. Okay, clowns are great. They amuse people. I mean, kids love them. Some are scared of them. But nobody would be scared of you, Luca. Okay, it's all good. It's all good. It's all love.
Put him in the
Cielo, Berna, Paolo, 3 Juve veterans on and off the field, and all gone on transfers. Will the identity remain after guys like this leave? I feel it's not necessarily like we have a set identity at the moment,
Mhm.
and because it's been so much transitioning over the past couple seasons, that we're still looking for that next Juventus identity, in my personal opinion. That's just me. How do you guys feel about Luca's question?
I think we'll find the new identity once like Bonucci, Chiellini leave. All the kind of like a purge of the system, which not in terms of like they were bad people, but to get an identity, you kind of have to, like you said, you have to build it anew, and we'll see if we can build that with Locatelli, Chiesa, and whoever else you want to throw in there. McKennie, maybe one youngsters that stick around, but Pedine, if he's the future, sort of a bit more of an Italian backbone, plus a little bit of international spread here and there. So, yeah, who knows? Who knows? It's going to start new once those old guys leave. Has to.
There
Yeah,
you
but
go. Omer, what do you think?
I like what we have going forward. I think Locatelli has the right mentality. I think Chiesa has the right mentality. You can throw even Dushan in there. Quadrado is a leader. We've all seen it in the documentary. We still have guys that are there. Bonucci, Chesney, those guys are veterans as well in the team. They've been around for a while. They know what it means and what it takes. Dybala was never a leader to me. Behind the scenes, Chiellini, no doubt, there's no question. Berna is just, I don't think he's any way, shape, or form a leader or someone who has the Juve mentality. So 2 out of 3 who are not leaders, I don't see a major change there. On the contrary, I think we're on a good path with leaders going to the future.
Yeah. Now, I know we said we didn't have time and we'll get a couple, but you know what? God, let's
Run through them quickly.
We got
We'll
some
give
good
quick
ones here.
answers.
Storm the Barn YFG coming in here. Which player should be captain next season? He's also asking for which 2 players should be vice captains. But let's just say you name the captain next season. Who would you name as the captain? Anthony, who would you name as captain next season?
De Ligt.
There you go. Omar, who would you name as captain next season?
De Ligt.
Binsolio.
I think
Not
it's
a bad
100% De Ligt. It will be Bonucci, but I think it's 100% De Ligt. Maybe Quadrado and
I
Chesney
would,
in there.
obviously the passing of Mino, all this, we haven't really talked about it, and we were going to talk about it in one episode because there's always been that ties with Nedved, obviously Juventus and whatnot. Obviously, Mino's cousin now is taking over things and whatnot. I don't really know how this changes everything and whatnot, but one thing's for sure, and De Ligt even spoke about it, and he said it specifically in his words about always being the bad guy for him and taking the heat and everything like that. And it was interesting to hear because we always said it. Anthony and I said it on the show many times. Like, he doesn't do anything his players don't want to do. Okay. So if a player wants to move or whatnot, Mino makes it seem like it's, like he's always taking the heat for his guys. But De Ligt, we need to lock him down. We need to lock him down. If this helps ensure that, which I think it would be a big statement from the team as well, give it to De Ligt. De Ligt is the captain of this team moving forward, in my eyes. Let's do it. Let's do it. Last one is, where is it here? Are you guys concerned about Vlahovic? Do you feel there is a mental block in current Juve? I am not concerned with Vlahovic.
Agreed.
And is there a mental block in the current Juve? There are issues that we need to address. I think the issues unfortunately extend to everything in terms of gameplay, players' confidence, rotation, fitness. There is a lot of stuff that contributes to what we're seeing at Juventus. That's how I feel. You guys?
Yeah, the poor guy is just not playing the style that he was playing at Fiorentina, right? Like it's, back to goal so many times, service is crap. So he's going to be the guy. He's going to be the next, let's just say he's going to be the next this guy for the young generation. So just pump the brakes. Vlahovic will be fine. We'll see. I'm putting big money on him
fear
winning
with
the goal scoring
Vlahovic.
title next
Omer?
year.
Remember how the Licks first 6 months went?
Oh, yeah.
Was it?
Thought we had to put him in a straitjacket to stop getting
Yeah.
handballs.
So same case. I have no problem and no worries about
That's a good point.
Vlahovic, and I actually believe we improved on our mentality in the second half of the season. We covered it recently that we made much more points. I think 12 after coming back from behind, which wasn't the case in the first half of the season. So there is an improvement. I'm not worried at all. Vlahovic is a beast, and he will be great for Juve. Just patience. Patience is the key word.
Yeah, absolutely. Guys, fantastic. The live, you guys are spectacular every single time you come out here. Great answers, great comments, great questions. Like it's all fantastic. We appreciate it. Reminder, like the video, okay? Subscribe to the channel if you're new, okay? It's all Juve all the time here, and all subscribers automatically enter to win this kit. We are like about a week away from giving this bad boy away, so good luck to all the subscribers. Jeremy coming in here. Nice shirt, Berto. Absolutely. The latest throwback crew necks from stripedheartsapparel.com. So check them out. This was one of them based off the 1994 kit. And then the other was the 2001s, as you see the Del Piero and Buffons up there. So yeah, great stuff. Check them out and show some love. As always, we'll leave you with the match. We will be back tomorrow having some fun on the Saturday, hopefully discussing another victory, but definitely we will start to turn the gears and switch and start thinking about Merda and that Coppa Italia final tomorrow. So make sure you're there joining us tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. Eastern time for the post-match podcast. And then let's start looking ahead to that big one midweek that I need this team to take, okay? As a jersey collector as well, I gotta have that badge on that kit next year, okay? So let's go. As always, fino alla fine, forza Juve, ciao tutti, enjoy the match. We'll be back tomorrow.